It's 8:30 in the morning and I can smell chips and onions. Is it me? I mean, who eats chips at 8:30 in the morning?
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I love Norfolk so. So I'm reading the paper the other day and I'm a bit bored and I'm looking at these horoscope things. And under my star sign it says, all the stars are aligned up to produce for you perfect luck. Your lucky number is 5. So I thought, what the hell? I'll go to the racing pages. And when I looked at the racing pages, at Doncaster, there was a 5th race which was being run at 5 p.m. in the evening. And when I looked down, I couldn't believe it. There was a horse there called Lucky 5. So I thought, I've got to do this. So I put 500 quid on it. Guess what? It came 5th. Right, boys and girls. Everything you've seen in the first 3 episodes of these videos has all been filmed in Hobton. That's everything local, of course. But now, today, we're going to cross over the bridge. Yes, into the Badlands of Wroxham itself. Now I've got my firearm and I've got my protective armour on and I've got my passport, because today we're going to have a look at Cane Meadow. So boys and girls, you think all this protective gear is an overreaction? You're mistaken. When hostilities were at their peak several years ago, the paramilitary wing of the Women's Institute of Hobton decided to make their own version of napalm, which involved raspberry jam and toenail clippings, and they started dropping it on the housing estates of Wroxham. Well, that brought both sides to the negotiation table, but you can't be too certain. Some of these elder paramilitaries might be hiding in the bushes, you never can tell. Bit like Japanese soldiers trapped on an island during World War II and they didn't know the war was over. Well, the last thing I want is some 85-year-old woman chucking a version of napalm at me when we go and have a look at where we're going. Which is, we're going down into Wroxham and then we're going to go down to Cane Meadow. And we're going to have a look at Cane Meadow.
Here we are then, boys and girls. Cane Meadow. Pronounced Cairn Meadow. This is owned and operated by Wroxham Parish Council. There's not a breath of wind. Lovely, isn't it?
In the United Kingdom, a series of men's clubs has been set up to provide elderly gentlemen with somewhere to go and somewhere to communicate with like-minded individuals. These things are called men's sheds, and it's quite a worthwhile initiative. Old boys can go along and meet with people of their own age and using those skills make things which are useful. Brilliant idea. But Wroxham had a men's shed long before anybody else, and it wasn't called a men's shed. But what these old boys did was create a perfectly working howitzer and the shells that went with it, and then proceeded to start lobbing these shells onto the vulnerable Hobton. Now, one shell blew a boat out of the water just alongside the river bridge, and another bomb took the back wall out of the ladies' toilets, completely exposing 3 bare bums to a party of school children there on a picnic. Of course, the police were called and in due quick time gave the old boys a severe telling off and confiscated the howitzer and all its shells. It is this unprovoked attack on our village which caused the paramilitary arm of the Women's Institute to start manufacturing their napalm. At the same time, they started knitting furiously because they started knitting multicoloured balaclavas with a little bobble on top and a rose stuck to it. That didn't go down well with the paramilitary arm of the Women's Institute. Well, it wouldn't, would it? They too were given a severe telling off by the police, but all raspberry jam in a 20-mile radius of the two villages was confiscated. Personally, I think the rebellion is still going on, sort of simmering under the surface, because you can occasionally see some of these balaclavas at Norwich City Football Club's home games. After the truce, which was presided over by a High Court judge if you don't mind, things quietened down. However, both villages started to play pranks on each other, and as we go through further episodes I'll tell you what some of these pranks were. The High Court judge, in an attempt to bring about a more amicable solution to the hostilities between the two villages, recommended a raft race. Now, the raft race in theory is a good idea. You paddle down the river and you throw flower bombs at each other. But I think the High Court judge tended to forget that this is a boat building village. So what turned up on raft race day was incredible. The men's sheds and boat builders had been at it again, and what we got was a load of floating trebuchet. Now these are ancient catapults where you can fire rocks at your enemy. Well, they didn't have any rocks to throw at each other, so they improvised by lifting and nicking paving slabs from the shopping precinct, telling people that were there that they were preparing flower beds for the spring to grow daffodils and begonias in the summer. It soon became apparent to those of us that were watching that the combatants were not actually trying to hit each other. No, they were trying to destroy the buildings on the opposite side of the river. Now in the village we have a parish magazine, and this magazine contains all the elements of what's going on and this sort of thing. It's quite common across the country. Within the magazine there are the two reports from the parish councils, and it started to become a little bit worrying when the parish councillors whose names are printed in the magazine actually started adding their nicknames in brackets in the middle of their name. So all of a sudden we got Judith, brackets, machine gun, close brackets, Benson, and Ronald, brackets, hatchet, close brackets, Black. Over the next few weeks and months, this too started to escalate. So suddenly we got Michael, brackets, I'm gonna kill all your pets, close brackets, Tomlinson. It became quite common to hear the sound of automatic gunfire coming from the rear of the church hall and the sound of clashing blades coming from within, all to the accompaniment of the local bell ringers, would you believe? Now, we're getting close to the end of this particular episode, but I'll tell you more about some of the more funnier skirmishes in later episodes. So, don't forget to practice the pronunciation. Davy, are you going to Cairn Meadow? No, I'm going to Norwich Station. Now, did you notice I said the word going? Going. This is the new word I want you to practice. The word is going. And finally then, a bit of slang for you. East End slang, motor. Okay, East End slang, the word motor. It's motor. Got a new motor, have you, mate? In Norfolk, it sounds similar, but you've got to put the emphasis on the O. It's motor. Hey, you got a new motor? Got it? The O. Oh no, I talk a load of bollocks, but I do hope you've had a bit of fun and a little bit of a giggle here. Now you see this building on the left? A couple of years ago a lorry went straight through the front of it. In the second image you'll see the new brickwork where they had to rebuild it. Crying shame, but look how far away from the road it is. Gun emplacement, sniper hole. Because the little boats hibernate, this is where they roost in winter. And finally, what do you make of this? Someone is putting chalk marks around dog shit on the pavement. A good idea, I would have thought, stop people treading in it. But why is it there in the first place? Is it me? So, I get an awful love of things, just walking up and down. See ya.